Welcome to the Bag Maker's Workroom. I'm Chris with Simply Classic, and today's Thursday, April 30th, 2026. Thank you so much for joining us. We go live every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. If you can't join live, watch the recording on YouTube at any time. Make sure you subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified when I post a new video or when we go live. So today's actually a pre-recorded episode because I'm traveling this week, but Shauna on my team is here in the chat, so let her know if you have any questions at all. Today is New Pattern Day, and here's what we have planned. So we're going to start by going over what's new in the Simply Classic Scoop. Then I'll introduce you to our brand new pattern, the Novella. I'll show you some construction process because it's really different than other patterns. The exterior and the interior could get constructed at the same time. It's kind of cool. Then we're going to feature some of our customers' bags in Artistry Avenue. And then finally, I'll announce our pattern giveaway. So before we get started, please take a second to click the thumbs up button below. It really does make a difference, and I do really appreciate your support. So now it's time for the Simply Classic Scoop, and this is where I tell you what's new here at Simply Classic. The thing, of course, our big thing today is I want to let you know that we have a new pattern today. It is the Novella, and that is this bag behind you, the green one. So the Novella is, this was the first quarter subscription box pattern. So if you are a subscription box member, you have already received this pattern and probably have already made it. But for those of you who haven't, stay tuned because we're going to go over more of it in just a minute. So as I mentioned, I'm traveling this week, and on Thursday, when you're watching this, I'll actually be in Rosemont, Illinois for the Fiber and Fabric Festival. This is the first year of that event. It is open to the public. Usually it's an H&H show, and usually H&H is just a trade show, it's just wholesale, but they added a consumer show this year. So if you're in the Chicago area, come on by. We are at booth number 1548. It starts tomorrow, which is Friday, May 1st, and ends on Sunday. You can use our coupon to get free tickets. So just visit the link in the description below. Go ahead and fill it out. It's going to take you through like a little sign-up process, and then you can go ahead and get free tickets. So another amazing event that I'm really looking forward to is our very first leather bag making retreat, which is coming up in June. Now, I co-hosted a retreat last year with my friend Barbie from Genie Designs, and we had a really fantastic time. It was down in Florida where Barbie lives, and we had been a really amazing group, and I want to show you a few photos of that. So we were obviously in a hotel there. We had a hotel room reserved, like an event room, and I made a leather bag. I made the Nina. I showed everybody how to do that, and then she did a faux leather bag. And so, again, it was a really great time. The retreats are so much fun. You know, a lot of it's sewing, a lot of it's just camaraderie, right? And seeing old friends, meeting new friends, and that's kind of the fun about retreats. So this time I want to do something just a little bit closer to home, which for us is Thompson, Georgia. It's a cute southern historic town about 30 minutes from Augusta. So we have our office, warehouse, and studio here in Thompson, and we thought it would be really fun for folks to come here and spend the week sewing with us. So the retreat's going to be a little bit different than Florida and probably other retreats you've been to. For one, it is a smaller group. There's no more than 10 people. It is also 5 days long, and actually I say 5 days, like 4.5 days long, but we're focusing on just one bag the entire time, and it is the Talise, and it's the bag right here. This was a subscription box bag for fourth quarter of last year. And the thing that we're doing different with that is you are going to be able to pick out your own bag, okay? We have leathers coming in from Italy. You're going to be able to pick whichever design or whichever pattern you want as far as the leathers. You're going to be able to add whatever details you want. So, of course, the Talise has got a really beautiful detail here on the front. Change it up. You know, we're going to have options to use different hardware, maybe do a braid here, or do something totally different. The back, you can actually put a pocket. This one doesn't have it, but that's an option. So you're going to be able to tailor this however you want. Another thing, the talise has a couple different handle options. You're going to be able to change that up as well. So you're going to be able to really customize your talise to how you want to do it with the leathers that you want to use. Okay, no pre-done kits. You come and you pick up your own product. Once you do that, you're also going to cut the leather. Now, I know a lot of times it's very daunting to people. They're a little, a little leery about cutting. So we're going to have you do it. We're going to have you cut your leather. We're going to talk about the different kinds of stiffeners, what stiffener would work best and why. You're also going to be able to visit, of course, our warehouse, studio, and office. We're going to have dinner one night at my home. And then, of course, that week for the Thursday live stream, I hope that all of you can come and join me. And we're going to have a fun time on the live stream with everyone here talking about the retreat. So the retreat is from June 8th to 12th. Lunch is included each day. The other meals and lodging are not. We do have a discounted block of rooms at the Hampton Inn here in Thompson that you can take advantage of. And breakfast is included with that. So you could certainly grab breakfast there at the Hampton Inn. On Wednesday night, like I said, I'd like to invite you to do at my home with my husband, Bill, and I. And I think that a Thursday live stream with the whole group would be fun. So a few customers have reached out with questions about logistics, getting to and from Thompson and so forth. And if that's something you're concerned about, please email us at info@simplyclassic.net and we can send you some details about local airports and transportation. So also, a few other things I'm doing, teaching some workshops all around the country. We are in July, I'll be teaching the Julie and the Sorella at A&A Sewing in Broussard, Louisiana. In August, I'll be teaching at Sac Bag and Sew in Sacramento, and of course, teaching some different classes this year. Some of the classes are workshops, others are more like mini workshops, and then there's even some lecture style classes, like how to price and sew bags, how to do your dream bag. I mean, these are all things that you asked me about, and so we're going to go ahead and explore those. So you can register for all the classes on the Sac Bag and Sew website, which is also linked below. One note, if you're taking a class that requires a kit, you'll see that when you register, they'll provide you a link to purchase your class kit. We do require class kits to be purchased through us because we prepare all of those kits for you. They're going to be pre-cut, pre-interfaced, pre-stabilized. A lot of times we put like the double-sided tape on it. We do everything so that when we get into class, you are ready to go. Also, I will be when I'm in Sacramento, I'm also going to be at Cali Quilt Club the weekend before. We're going to be teaching 4 different bags there. It's going to be fun. So we'll give you more details when we have that. Also, we'll be at Boise Sewing and Vacuum in Boise, Idaho, and I believe this in September. So again, once we have more details and links, we'll share that with you. And then in October, I'll be back in Ohio at Pins and Needles in Cleveland. So we were there in February. We had an amazing time. They've already invited me to come back. And this time we're going to be doing the Zara and the Sorella. So again, we have lots of things planned. Very excited about them. I can't wait to meet all of you. We're also in the process of, planning other events. So as soon as we get updates on all of them, we will definitely let you know. So finally, I just want to give you a sneak peek of the building that we're in for our new studio. And this is some of the construction process that we went through. So you might not know that it's a property that used to be owned by a concrete company. And when we bought it, there was an office and a warehouse, and then this other little outbuilding that honestly we didn't know what to do with it. So we let it kind of sit there for a while. It was like a control room full of levers and stuff so they can mix their concrete. And first thing we had to do is get the warehouse rebuilt, which is what we did last year, and of course got everything moved over there. The office wasn't too bad, had a few little things that we had to do. And then this other building, which we actually turned into a recording studio, question mark, what to do with it. So we finally realized that was what we needed to do, was turn it into a recording studio. And so we spent the last few months doing just that. And that's where we are right now. But this is what it looked like before. And actually, the real before was much worse than this. It was really kind of This is like a during and an after, not really a before and an after. It was just a mess. But as you can see, it's really come a long way. So in this studio area, we actually have our filming over here. We used to have it at my home studio at my house, and so we've moved it over here. We also have a few machines over here, and so we're going to be doing some sewing here. I'll probably still film at my home studio once in a while, but you can see it's pretty roomy, and we're loving it. Now, one thing we need to warn you about is we have train tracks right behind us, and once in a while the trains go by. So if we ever do a little toot toot or something and mute you, you'll know why. It's because the train's going by and we needed to take a second. So for all of you that are coming to the retreat in June, of course you have a chance to see all this in person, and as I said, join me on camera, but only if you want to, of course. We won't make you. So now is the moment you have all been waiting for. It is time to talk about our brand new pattern, the Novella. So we are going to take a look at the Novella. So this is the bag on the pattern cover. And it is our very first top handle bag. So the Novella was released to our subscription box members back in March, and now it's available to everyone for a limited time for $12.49. So before we look at the Novella up close, I want to show you the bag that inspired it. So this is the tattoo bag by Métis. So it retails for $950, or you can get the smaller Tatito version for $800. The Novella is closer in size to the Tatito. It is actually a little bit shorter and a little deeper. So it has a little bit more of a rounded look than this. Theirs is rounded, but theirs is kind of squared off on the sides. Ours is a little bit more rounded. So you can see some different angles of that tattoo bag here. Métis describes it as being a very versatile and eye-catching bag with an innovative silhouette, and I would agree with that. It is really what inspired me to make a bag and to try to replicate this as much as possible. I really wanted to have a bag that had a very similar look for real or for faux leather. And because, of course, that tattoo bag is made with real cowhide leather, it has been meticulously edge-coated and hand-painted. So now that we've seen the inspiration bag, let's go back and look at the Novella. So just like the tattoo bag, the Novella is a top handle bag with a flap. But the tattoo bag has a magnetic closure, and the Novella is rated for this turn lock. Now you can definitely switch that up if you prefer a different kind of closure. You could do a twist lock, you could do magnetic snap, you could do a slip lock. I mean, there's so many different things you can do. But I really love how classy this top handle is. Now, one thing I do want to mention is on the tattoo bag, you'll notice that the sides poke out some. They do on this Novella as well. That's just kind of the design of the bag and how that works. And actually, on the Novella, the flap covers the bag more so than the tattoo bag does. Okay, so that's just kind of something to keep in mind. I did add strap connectors to the exterior of the bag so you could make it into a crossbody, and I do have a crossbody strap in here. But it is constructed very differently than any other pattern that I've written before, and probably anything else you've ever made. Don't let that intimidate you. We do have it listed as an intermediate pattern, but of course I go through the entire process in the video step by step so you can follow along. I'm actually going to show you a clip of that process in just a few minutes, but first let's go to the overhead for a little bit closer look of the bag. Okay, so the size of the bag is 11 inches wide, 7 inches tall, and 5 inches deep. Okay, so you can see the depth here. The interior, and I do have my crossbody strap in here, so I'm going to go ahead and take that out for just a minute. But you can see that the interior is constructed the same way the lining is. Okay, it's a nice tight fitting interior. All of these different sections are actually sewn in on the inside as well. And then we kind of have this free falling zipper pocket there. We really can't put any kind of slip or in like a built-in zipper pocket because of the way the bag is constructed. So it's pretty open on the inside. Okay. This lock, the way you close it is you just go ahead and slip that right into the, there's a little tab there. So how it came in, and you just pull that up. Okay. And when I said about it sticking out, you can see here how it comes out a little bit. If you look at the pictures of the tattoo bag, you'll see that it comes out even more. Okay, the flap is even narrower. So we made that. You can see there. See the, I mean, it's, gosh, at least, what, that's probably 1.5 inches or so. It's almost the entire section of that third layer. And of course, with our bag, we did not do that. We went ahead and covered, most of that. Now, the flap itself, you can either use rivets on the back to attach the flap, or you can stitch that on. It's whatever you prefer. I know some of you don't have access to rivets. If you are really into bag making, you're going to want to invest in a rivet press though at some point, because rivets really do, I think, kind of make the bag look a little more professional. Kind of gives it that professional touch, and it makes sometimes sewing in places a little more difficult than it needs to be, and rivets can certainly help alleviate any difficulties. Of course, like I said, we have our little straps here on the end, on the side, and a little bit of double stitching there. Okay, and then we of course have purse feet here on the bottom. And I don't have this bag stuffed, but it is, once you put all of your things in here at the bottom will certainly fall out a little bit more. And that is the Novella. Cool, huh? So to celebrate the Novella pattern release, you can get the PDF pattern for $12.49 for just 1 week only. Now that deal ends on Wednesday, May 6th. So make sure you grab your pattern before the sale ends. Mother's Day is coming up, and the Novella would be a really incredible handmade gift for your mom, your sister, your partner, or of course yourself. So as for the pattern itself, I've been trying to include some more useful resources in each pattern. So the Novella pattern does have a suggested fabric layout for both directional and solid materials. So make sure you're cutting it, whatever layout you have. If you have a directional fabric, make sure you're choosing the right cutting chart. We try to give those to you so that you can be very efficient in your cutting. I also added a stabilizer layout and a lining layout. And of course, all that is in addition to the pattern pieces, the video tutorial, the written instructions, and over 100 process photos included in the pattern. So another thing we included in our PDF patterns is tester photos. So I want to show you some of the novellas that our amazing testers made. So here is the Novella made by Nikki Howard Handmade, and she used this brown, I believe it was faux leather. I really like her placement of her bag tag there. She used a leather bag tag and she put it right underneath the flap. And you can see she decided to use a half moon closure flap versus the twist lock flap. Of course, that's optional, and I really love the way it turned out. Now she decided to make a second one, and how fun is this? She ended up doing a red, white, black version with some quilting, and this just goes to show you how you can color block this bag and make it a super fun bag. I love this. When she sent me this one, I thought, wow, that is definitely, I would have never thought of that, but it is absolutely gorgeous. So Joanne from JoJo's Bags also sent this over. This is, of course, almost like a silver gray color, and she used black accents, and it is just very upscale, and it's just very, very beautiful. She did an excellent job with it. Very classy. Janet from Yankee Girl Leather used leather to do hers, so you can use leather for this. And she used an embossed croc leather and a solid yellow, and of course used a fun floral print for the lining, and it just turned out beautiful. Very summery bag. I really love it. So Janet from Yankee Girl Leather, a lot of times my testers do multiple bags. She ended up doing this one as well. This is a blue lizard in a solid blue. It's kind of a, I've seen this one in person. Well, I've seen them both in person. They're both amazing. Sometimes pictures don't do bags justice, and they look so much better in real life. Not that this looks bad at all. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I ever say that, like it looks even better in real life, it's not that it looks bad. It's just that, you know, when you go, maybe you go to the mountains and you say, oh, this is so beautiful, and you take a picture and you look at it and you think, well, gosh, that picture didn't even do it justice. Kind of feel that way with bags sometimes, right? This bag is absolutely gorgeous in person. I mean, she did a fantastic job. Now, Cheryl from Cheryl Taylor Designs ended up color blocking hers as well, but look at how she did hers, totally different. She ended up using a different color for the strap and for the strap connectors. And I think that's really ingenious because when we color block this, I tend to think of color blocking the layers versus the flap, right? I mean, she just, she knocked it out of the park with this. Love the way she styled this too. So Barb from Nonalicious Creations made this gorgeous blue. And I think this is obviously a faux leather of some sort, but I love the pattern on it. And she kind of did a solid design here. Now I know for a fact that she sews with a like a semi-industrial machine. She does not have an industrial machine, and she creates these bags, no problem. You'll see in the video that I do, I actually created, I think I did on mine, burn it. So I mean, it's really, you can do it. It's really a great option. Now, Becky ended up from Spotted Pony Designs, ended up doing hers in this really beautiful emerald green. Nice color. I love it. Again, very summery. Love the pop of color for the lining. It looks amazing. Look at how nice her flap looks too back there. It is absolutely gorgeous. So weren't all of those stunning? I hope it gives you some inspiration. I want to thank all of my talented testers, Nikki, Joanne, Janet, Cheryl, Barb, and Becky, along with Carol from C-Rex Designs, who also helps a lot. She sometimes will make the bags. She just happened to be going on vacation, so she just kind of read through the pattern. Also want to thank Taylor, because Taylor helps with all that and reads to the pattern over and over. And we try to make sure we have no errors or spelling error. We try to make sure everything's perfect, but as you know, from time to time things happen, so we do sometimes have pattern corrections, and you can always check our pattern correction section on our website. So as you saw, you can really get creative with color blocking on this bag. It looks beautiful in a single color, or you can play with all kind of color placement to get a completely different look. I am so excited to see what all of you come up with. I know you're gonna enjoy this bag, and I know the ideas are, you're going to come up with things that I didn't even think of. So if you make your novellas, don't forget to post them in the Simply Classic Bag Making group on Facebook. And of course, you have a chance to be featured in a future episode of Artistry Avenue, or the live stream, but part of Artistry Avenue. So I know some of you are feeling a little intimidated by the way this bag is constructed, at least the way it looks, right? So I'm going to go ahead and show you a clip from the Novella tutorial now, and you'll see that even though it's a little different, it does not need to be scary. So let's go ahead and take a look, and then we'll come back for Artistry Avenue and our giveaway.
Let's go over these pattern pieces. We have our centerpiece. We have only one of these, okay? It has some stabilizer on the back, and the stabilizer is a 1/2 inch from the top and bottom edge and 0.25 or 1/4 of an inch from each side. So we have one of these. We have our layer 1 pieces. Now our layer 1 pieces are kind of shaped like boomerangs, and same type of thing. We have some stabilizer on the back. The stabilizer is a 1/2 inch from each top and bottom edge and a 1/4 inch from each side edge, okay? So as I mentioned in the beginning, I am kind of doing a little bit of color blocking, but kind of a tone on tone using this gray suede. And then of course my solid is the solid gray. The layer 2 pieces are also shaped like boomerangs, and I'm going to show you the difference between the two in just a minute. But these boomerangs, we're going to call it layer 2, look like this. And just like layer 1, we have stabilizer on the back, a 1/2 inch from the top and bottom, and a 1/4 inch from each side. Now, let me show you the difference between these two pieces. So I think hopefully you can see here, this is layer 1 piece, this is layer 2 piece. The layer 2 piece is more pointed here at the edge, where the layer 1 piece actually has a straight edge on it, okay? And that is important. You don't want to mix these up. So make sure you use your little tags that we give you in the pattern to clip onto these pieces, and you keep layer 1 separate from layer 2. Then we have our 2 side pieces, and here they're just kind of little guys. And again, I have some stabilizer on the back. Now the stabilizer is a 1/2 inch from the top edge and then a 1/4 inch all the way around. Now, this bag is finished with a little bit of binding on top because the bag goes together totally different than anything you've ever seen. If you feel like you want to bring your stabilizer pieces to the top on both of your layer 1 and layer 2 pieces, your side and your main body kind of centerpiece here, you can do that. Just make sure that your machine can handle it, and because this essentially, we're not going to fold these over, okay? This is where the binding is going to go. So in order to kind of help with thickness, we kept it out of the seam allowances, but keep in mind that if you feel like you're using a faux leather or a fabric that's a little floppy, then, or maybe even using like a cotton canvas, you're probably going to want to bring that all the way up to the top, and it's going to help give you a nice sturdy surface to stitch your binding onto. Now for the exterior, we also have a bottom piece, and here's our bottom piece. It's just a teeny tiny little guy here. We do have some heavy stabilizer on the back. It's a 1/2 inch from each edge, so essentially it's centered on there. We have one main piece, just like the main piece I showed you before. And then we have our layer 1 and our layer 2 pieces, of course, one of each. Okay, so this is layer 1 because it has this flatter surface on it here. And then layer 2 has the more pointed edge here. So we are going to go over to the burnette and we're going to start stitching. So on our bottom piece, one edge is longer than the other. We're going to put double-sided tape along the long edges. And then we're going to peel that tape off and we're going to fold the long edges right over the stabilizer. Okay, so just as tight as you can against that stabilizer. Go ahead and install 4 purse feet. Once you have your purse feet installed, you're going to take your base piece here, your middle section, you're going to find the center. So I'm just going to take the short ends, put them together, and make small little notches to find the center of this piece. I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom piece, and then we're going to match up those notches. Now, I'm going to use a little bit of double-sided tape to hold this in place. You can certainly use Wonder Clips instead. I'm going to put a couple pieces on here, and then we're going to stitch this on that bottom piece. I'm going to kind of take advantage of this and put this over the screws as well. That'll kind of help those from coming apart, protect the faux a little bit. And I highly recommend you use Loctite here whenever you're using screws to hold screws in, because they will somehow, they can and will come apart. So go ahead and peel the backing off. And here's of course, my piece. Zoom out just a tad for you. And all I'm going to do is line the center up. Go ahead and stick this piece right on top. And now we're going to stitch an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance down each long edge. Okay, if you have a bag tag that you do not put on the flap that you want to put on this bag, I suggest you do it now. So once you get your bag tag on, if you do have one, you want to go ahead and put your this is my lining piece. I'm going to go ahead and put that wrong sides together. They should be exactly the same, and I'm going to Wonder Clip these together. And then using an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, I'm going to stitch these 2 pieces together. So these pieces are now basted together. We are going to work with our layer 1 piece. So as a reminder, your layer 1 piece is the one that has this kind of flat edge here, as opposed to your layer 2 piece, which has more of a curved edge. Okay. So find the center of the long edges of your layer 1 piece. I'm going to go ahead and do both layer 1 pieces at the same time and also the layer 1 lining pieces. Okay, so from here we're going to start building this bag. Take one of your layer 1 pieces, you're going to take that flat edge and you're going to put it right against the center point of your bag. This is your main piece. You can do it right sides together and clip that in place. It is going to start curving. So once you go ahead and wonder clip the base piece here in place, you're going to line up your top edge and wonder clip. And then you're going to do the same thing with this other top edge. You're going to stitch this on using an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, very important, 1/8 of an inch. So you can already kind of see how this is starting to curve. So from here we're going to take a lining piece. We're going to place the linings right sides together, and again this straight edge here we're going to line up with the center and wonder clip in place. And this is where I think you might find it easier to either use double-sided tape or staples. Because what we're going to do is line up the centers again. We're going to kind of repeat the process. But we already have this trying to curve in the other direction. Always start with the edges up here. That's going to help. Once you clip that together, you can kind of fit the rest of this in, okay? And you may have to manhandle it a little bit, and that's okay. Now, from here, I found it easier to stitch from the right side for a couple reasons. Number one, I can see exactly where my other stitch is. It was an 1/8 of an inch. This time I want to do a 1/4 of an inch. I also don't want to stitch on my stabilizer, so I'm going to stitch a 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to come all the way down and then end over here on this side. If you haven't back stitched yet, you do want to make sure you back stitch on this round here. Okay, so 1/4 of an inch. Now that I have both the lining and the main part of the body sewn, I'm just going to take these 2 pieces and I'm going to flip them wrong sides together. And I'm going to wonder clip match the centers here and wonder clip them in place. Okay, so my seam allowance is going towards this layer 1 piece. So we are going to just kind of flip this so the bowl is facing kind of inside here. And we're going to top stitch an 1/8 of an inch all the way down here. And then we're going to go ahead and baste the rest of this together using an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Now, as I am top stitching, I'm going to kind of pull this layer piece out, just kind of tug it so it's nice and taut. Just make sure that the piece is pulled out to as far as it will go based on where the original stitching is. So I'm going to show you this here. The top stitching is done. So now I'm going to go ahead and baste the rest of this piece closed. And of course I'm doing this using an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. And as you're stitching, don't be afraid to flip this kind of bowl shape to one side or the other. However, it makes it easiest for you to stitch. So here is the first layer piece on. You can see it's already starting to form that kind of bowl shape. Okay, So we're going to take the second layer 1 piece and we're going to repeat that process. So I now have both layer 1 pieces on. You can see we have this kind of bowl shape forming. Okay. And we're going to repeat that same process with the layer 2 piece. So I'm going to again find the center, just like we did before. And in 2 passes, I'm going to first stitch the main piece on, and then I'm going to stitch the lining pieces on. Okay, so the part that is kind of jutting out, not the concave part, but more the convex part, okay? So this almost looks like a boomerang, right? So the bottom part of the boomerang is what's going to go against the layer 1 piece. Now you can already see how much this piece is curved compared to this piece here, right? So that's what's going to continue to form the bowl shape. So we're going to do the same thing by clipping the main part up here first and then just fitting the rest of this together. And right here is going to be the spot you can see where this wants to come up. You're really going to have to make sure that stays down. And this is where either your double-sided tape or staples are really going to come in handy. My clips are pretty weak, so it's wanting to really come up. My Wonder clips keep breaking, and they've just been smushed so many times that it's time to get a whole new set. Okay, we're going to do the same thing, stitch using 1/8 of an inch seam allowance first to get this main piece on. So here's what we have. Okay, so again, we're going to take the lining piece, we're going to make sure that the bottom side of the boomerang, go ahead and clip this on. Okay, this is going to be the one spot that can be a little bit challenging. Go ahead and pull it. Okay, so you see here I'm actually having to pull this to make this end here match. Don't be afraid to do that. And poke your bag in whatever direction is easiest for you. I'm always, when I'm making this bag, and of course I've made it a bunch of times already, I am constantly flipping it, meaning, at some point it's popped out in this direction, other times it's popped out in the other direction. It's just constantly changing. Just depends which seam I'm stitching, so don't be afraid to do that. So once again, I'm going to stitch from this side. I'm going to kind of poke this out and use 1/4 of an inch seam allowance to stitch the lining layer on. And you may have to, when you get closer to the point, just reach underneath and pull your lining so that it is even with your bag, which is what I'm doing right here. Making sure that that's... And if you need to use some hemostats or something to, or a stitching awl, by all means, use whatever you need to make sure that stays in place. And then, of course, you can also staple that too. That would help. So I'm just going to kind of pull this. Make sure it's nice and even. Once you get past that point, you should be good to go. So before I flip and top stitch, I always like to kind of poke this out and see if I see any of my basting stitches. And I can see right here I can, okay? So I just didn't quite do the 1/4 inch seam allowance right there. So I'm just gonna poke this back out and just re-stitch over that. No reason to take it apart. I'm just going to, in that little section right there, take a little bit of a deeper seam allowance. And that little bit right there should have done it for me. And it looks like it did. I don't see my stitches anymore. So I'll go ahead and poke this out. Just like for layer 1, I'm going to line up my lining and layer 2 piece wrong sides together. Okay, I'm going to poke this in this direction. Go ahead and lay it on my machine, and as I top stitch this, I'm just going to be slightly tugging this to make sure the seam allowance is all the way out. Top stitch down, and then I'm going to baste the rest of this using an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. So again, I want to show you that top stitching. You can see that all on there. Looks good. So now I'm going to baste the rest of this piece together. So here's what we have so far. Okay, everything looks really good. So I'm going to repeat that process to put the layer 2 piece here on this side. Do it exactly the same way.
I hope that gave you some confidence in your abilities to construct the novella. It's definitely going to teach you some new techniques, which, right, that's what we want to do. We always want to be improving our techniques. Might be a little challenging, but I know all of you can handle it. So I can't wait to see what you come up with. So now it's time for Artistry Avenue, and every week we choose 3 bags that we're posting in the Simply Classic Bag Making community on Facebook, or that we email to info@simplyclassic.net. If we feature your bag, you can get a free PDF pattern of your choice. You have 30 days to email info@simplyclassic.net to let us know which pattern you would like. So let's take a look at this week's artists. So Elaine made the novella. She is a subscription box member, but she mixed it up and used some of her own materials too. And I absolutely love that. Of course, our subscription box does come with all of the materials you need to create your bag, meaning the faux leather, the hardware, the lining, the woven interfacing. So what she did is she took the faux leather that we sent, which was mushroom, that kind of middle color, and she added to it. You're not limited to what's in your subscription box. You can do whatever you want. That's why we sew, right? So I love this. I love that she did this. It is absolutely gorgeous. This is the first bag Elaine has ever made. Can you believe that? And she tackled this novella. I mean, she said she has made some simple totes before, but nothing like a traditional handbag. She dove in head first, and she did, and look at what a fantastic job she did. So if you think you can't do it, look at Elaine. Not only did she do it, she did it very well. Very nice. Love it. Deborah made the novella using denim. Look at it. It is absolutely good. This is, I'll tell you, I've been looking at, of course, a lot of the different novellas out there. This is one of my favorites. I like that it's, because to me, it's more of like a upscale bag, but this is an excellent way to tone it down some and make it more of an everyday type of bag. She added extra stabilizer to give it a little bit more structure, which of course you can do. She used a burnt orange thread, which was really a great choice with this denim. Very reminiscent of the stitching on a classic pair of jeans. And I also want to point out that Deborah, what she did with that top handle, she said that she was inspired by buttonholes on jeans, and so she basically made buttonholes and then slid that through. I mean, that's ingenious. That is absolutely beautiful. I love this bag. You did an excellent job, Deborah. Very, very nice. And then finally, we have this novella from Rebecca, and she combined solid faux with faux ostrich for a really unique and textured effect. I do want to share her tip for anyone wanting to combine different thicknesses like this, because the mushroom that we sent in the kit is thinner than the ostrich that she has here. Ostrich is just naturally a little bit thicker. And she said she had a little bit of trouble with her flap, so she recommended using the thicker material on the front of the flap and then a thinner material on the back of the flap, which is an excellent idea. I think that's great. So we appreciate you giving us that tip, and it is absolutely gorgeous, Rebecca. You did a great job. Again, I love that, you're not limited to what's in your subscription box. Maybe you use part of it for, the bag and part of it for matching wallet. The subscription boxes, of course, they are mystery, and we know that everybody's not going to always love every single color we send out, and it's just nature, right? We all like different things, and that's okay. But take what you have and turn it into something you love. So thank you so much to our featured artists, Elaine, Deborah, and Rebecca, for sharing your amazing makes. Don't forget to email info@simplyclassic.net within 30 days to let us know which PDF pattern you like. So before we move on to our Q&A, let's talk about our giveaways. We're going to give away a PDF pattern for the novella to one person watching live. So if you're watching live on Thursday evening, Shauna will randomly select the winner from the comments. Just enter the keyword top, T-O-P, as in like top handle bag, for a chance to win. And this is specifically for the giveaway for the novella pattern. So please don't enter if you already have it. This is open worldwide. And again, just enter the word top in the chat. One entry per person, please. And if you're watching the replay, you'll be entered to win a pattern of your choice. So if there's any PDF pattern on our site that you would like, go ahead and leave a comment that includes your first name and something you're looking forward to doing this summer. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be summer related. Maybe you're going on vacation. Maybe you're going to be visiting some family. Maybe you're just staying home. Maybe you're having a staycation. Tell you, when my husband and I owned our CPA firm, we did that a lot. We'd stay home. We'd say, oh, we're going on vacation. We just stay home. So staycations are great too. So we will randomly select a winner on the May 13th live stream. So you have a couple weeks to enter. So now let's take a look and see if there are any questions in the chat that Shauna couldn't help with. I'll make sure to answer them on the next live episode, which was actually be in 2 weeks. Okay, so if you have any questions, type them. We'll address them then. You can email info@simplyclassic.net. But we do have one topic we want to address today because it's something that I hear often. And that is, can I use fabric to make your patterns instead of leather or faux leather? Can I use fabric? And the answer to that is yes for some of them. There's a couple of patterns you cannot. You'd have to really alter the pattern to do so. And those are the Sorella is a raw edge bag. The Gemella is a raw edge wallet. We have a little free pattern called the Madison, which is raw edge. The Madison and the Gemella would be really easy to make out of fabric. You're just going to add a seam allowance and tuck it under. Sorella is a little more difficult because there's a lot of curves in that bag, so you're really going to use some kind of non-grain fabric for that. And of course, you can use cork or anything that you would like. So now I'm going to pause just a second and give future Shauna a chance to announce the giveaway winner in the chat. And to our winner, make sure you email info@simplyclassic.net within 24 hours to let us know that you won. So thank you for joining me for the Bag Makers Workroom, and make sure you join us next Thursday, May 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for an episode about upscale bag handles. Don't forget to submit your Simply Classic makes by posting them in the Facebook group or by emailing info@simplyclassic.net. And please remember to click that thumbs up button on your way out. So until next week, everybody, happy sewing.